Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be doing a what would 7 do. You guys love to hear my opinion and love to listen to me talk, so I figured this would be a great video for us to do. And then maybe next time we'll do one like just girl talk, even though like most of these questions seem like they're coming from girls. So it kind of is like girl time talk, but yeah, you guys love my perspective on everything, and so let's talk about it. Before we start, like, just remember, perspective is everything. My opinion is not always 100% right. I've gotten here to the point where my opinions are a little more logical. So, you know, I'll try to talk between both versions of 7 that I've been and be very transparent. And yeah, so let's get started. Let's get into the first question. This one says, what would 7 do if 6 got into a fight? At this moment of my life, I would like to think that I'm like logical and can think straight. But I don't know, when it comes to my baby, the old 7 definitely would have crashed out. And you know what? Call your parents right now, because my son is good. So I know that if anything happened, 90% of the time I'll be able to back up and say, you know what? It's not his fault. Y'all got my son. So yeah, that would be the old 7. Like, I'd be like, well, call your mama or call your daddy too, because these hands are bisexual and we gonna handle it. But the new 7 would try to like, depending on the situation, depending on what happened, depending on why the fight started, depending on how my son is after the fight, I will try to like, you know, come up with a resolution. Like, whatever you did to my son to warrant his behavior, or especially if it's like a bullying situation where 6 just, yeah, I don't know. This one's a hard one. If he's getting bullied, I'm probably gonna crash out. Not gonna lie. Like, I'm not even gonna sit here and act like I'm such in like a good mental space where I wouldn't crash out. I would call Brooke instantly. Like, if I thought it was a bully situation, or if I found out it was, I would call Brooke and I would call my mom and I would say, call our lawyer, I'm about to go to jail. Okay? If it's a situation where like it was just like a mutual thing, like, you know what, we need to get this off just because the tension's too rising and we gotta fight about it, sure. Like, okay, y'all done, y'all happy, shake hands, I don't want to hear about this anymore. But yeah, if it's a bully situation, I'm gonna be quite honest, I'm probably just gonna take it all the way there. What would 7 do if she could not get along with her in-laws? That is a really good question. And I have perspective on this because I have been in that situation. I went through a point with an ex where me and my, two exes, with my son's dad, and with an ex where some, not all of the in-laws and me just could not get along. Some of it came to like really bad exchange of words, like big blow-ups. One of it actually came to like a physical altercation where I had my older sister handle it for me because I was pregnant. And there was a point in my life where I did not think it was important for me to get along with like my in-laws. I would always tell my first boyfriend when I didn't get along with his parents, I would say to the parents when the arguments were started, like, well, guess what? You can't do what I do with him, so you're gonna have to deal with me. And even when me and my son's dad family, some, not all, I pretty much get along with most of his family, we're having like a little tiff just because some of the girls are the same age as me, I genuinely didn't care. I was like, you know what? Well, I got something that y'all want. Y'all don't have nothing I want. I have the baby. There's no leverage here. So you're either going to be nice and respectful to me, or you'll never see my kid, because I wouldn't trust that you would be nice and respectful to me because of your disdain for me. And like I said, there was a point where I really didn't think it was important. Like, I never have to see you guys. I don't care. And at my age now, or with some growth and development, it's kind of important for me to like, not that I want them to like me so bad that I'm going to tolerate any disrespect, because I personally feel like I'm a reactive person. Like, I've never just disrespected my in-laws for no reason. Did I stick up for myself? Every time. I'm always going to do that. And so, not for nothing, like, I'm never going to kiss ass or like beg them to like me. But I do hope that when I get married and I settle down, like me and my in-laws can really get along, because family is important. And I don't want it to be weird when we're going to family gatherings or when it's time for holidays and we just can't make it work. Like, what are we fighting about? There's just nothing to be so angry at each other about. Like, you think he could have found somebody better? Oh, well, this is what he wants. Or, and likewise, vice versa, you know? Yeah, it's really important to me at this time. So I don't think that I would personally be able to stay in a relationship, or I don't think I would let the relationship progress much if off the bat I noticed that the in-laws weren't really taken to me and our families weren't really vibing or really connected, because family is really important to me. And, you know, I'm always so excited to like, for my mom to meet people that I really like, for my sisters to meet them, like, hey guys, there's like, I always want to like morph everybody into one, and logically in my mind it goes perfectly, but you know, sometimes it doesn't. But I think with like just respect goes such a long way. Like, I think most of the time, anytime I've had like tiffs with family, it's like power struggles or things that they've heard, so their first impression of me wasn't the best first impression. And yeah, I just truly believe respect goes a long way. And as long as, you know, the two sides respect each other, there's no reason for it to be so bad that we can't coexist and just make it work. Obviously, everybody's not going to be each other's cup of tea. But yeah, personally, that would be a deal breaker for me. I really would not be able to progress in a relationship like I would like to, because not because I want everybody to like me, but because relationships are hard enough. Like, let's make the easy parts, you know? What would 7 do if she was in the same career field as a friend and her friend was moving up in the company and she wasn't? Ooh, that doesn't sound good. Well, I know this is not the same, but I mean, essentially it is. I'm not sure what career path you guys are in. Me and Lala are technically in the same career field, and you know, I'm sure some days she does better than me and some days my YouTube videos will do better than hers, or TikToks, or whatever it is that we're talking about. But I've never like looked. I've never sat and compared. Comparison is the thief of joy, honestly and truly. If you are always comparing yourself to someone or something or some job or some relationship or something you saw on Instagram, you're never going to be happy, because there's always going to be a new thing. There's always going to be a new couple to admire. There's always going to be a higher position that you could get to, and you have to be okay with where you are in that moment. Because if you're so busy focusing on where everybody else is, you can't be in this moment and be doing the work to get where you want to be or where you feel like is that next elevated level. So it would not bother me if a friend was moving up in a career world. I think me and Lala, for example, we are in the same career field, but we both have such different dynamics in those fields, where there's ways that she's much better at it. You know, she's very good at the beauty side of things and the aesthetics and the clean girl stuff, and I'm very like rough around the edges, but I'm very personable. So I think that, it doesn't bother me at all, and I don't think it should bother you. I think you should be happy for your friend. I would be happy for my friend. And yeah, you gotta have confidence in yourself, girl, because if you're focused on where somebody else is, you're never gonna get where you wanna be. Ooh. What would 7 do if her man had a baby by another woman? I'm not sure, is this like while we're together, have a baby by another woman, or is this just like if my man had a baby coming into the relationship? So I'll answer both. If my man had a baby on me while we were in a relationship, and over, done. It's not even up for discussion. You, the baby, the mama, y'all can all ride off into the sunset. If I met a man and he had a baby coming into the relationship, obviously that is always going to be my situation. You know, as much as I would like to say that it wouldn't bother me at all, I mean, I think it would any woman just like a little bit, especially because I feel that my situation is slightly different because no man has the worry of me and my son's dad's relationship or him being around or anything, because obviously he is doing time. And for me, the first thing I would probably try to do is sit down with the mother of the child, because like I said, it comes back to the in-law thing. Like, I would consider that like she is now my in-law. Like, I have an ex who was my best friend for years. We started dating around like 17, and it just didn't work. After like 5 years, we stopped dating, and he's had a baby with somebody else, and he's dated other girls since me. And I always make it a thing to try to like befriend them, and genuinely, like, it's not nothing fake about it. Like, I genuinely mean it, and I genuinely want the friendship to work, because I want to continue to have my family bond. Like, our kids, I want them to continue to play together. I want to be able to be a part of that dynamic and everybody be comfortable. So if I was dealing with a man who had a kid, and obviously the woman is around, because that's just the normalness, my situation is not a normal thing. I would definitely want to sit down with her, and I would definitely kind of want to build like some kind of friendship, right? Because at the end of the day, now we're family. And I watch my mom and my stepmom, and I don't personally feel like a lot of it was my mom's fault. I feel like she tried. I watch their like relationship put such a strain on like the family dynamic. Like, if my mom and stepmom could figure out a way to get along, or my mom, dad, and stepmom could feel a way to get along, it would, me and my brothers would be much closer. Me and my dad would probably be much closer. But I'm riding with my mom because, you know, one, I feel like she's right, and two, that's my girl. So yeah, I would try to like sit down and, you know, build a genuine friendship. Not because, oh, I'm worried she's probably gonna sleep with my man. If that's gonna happen, that's gonna happen. And if we're friends and she does that, well, that's something they just gonna have to answer to God about, not me, because that's fake as fuck. But yeah, I would just try to build like a strong connection with her, because obviously I'm gonna be around her kid, and I want her to know like she's family. Like, holidays, you can come over, birthdays, you can come over. But I always have these like unrealistic thoughts in my head, and sometimes it seems more manageable than what it actually is. But like I said, it comes back to like the respect thing. Like, respect goes a long way. What would Seven do if her partner did drugs, not weed? So as a person who has like been around for a while, I have tried things that I wouldn't recommend people trying. I don't like people who do drugs, and I don't like to do them because, and not weed, obviously, like weed is fine. Like, that doesn't really bother me. The only part that bothers me, if we're in a closed space and you're smoking it and now it's in my hair, can't stand that. That's like, pisses me off, right? But the thing, like, as a kid, I did drugs. Through high school, I had like a pretty weird problem with it. I wouldn't say it was terrible, but I did do downers even as like a young teen in my 20s. Even on the show, like, I was a little stressed because I didn't have the drugs that I wanted. And when I stopped doing drugs and I got like in a mental space where there was nothing enhancing or swaying my thought process or the way I felt, I realized like sometimes you're not depressed, you're just coming down or too high and overthinking everything, right? So that is the reason I would personally not date a man who does drugs. One, because I've had a drug problem before. I fell asleep like driving cars off drugs and everything. And really young, I had a drug problem too, which is not good. So I don't want, like, I feel like it's just not gonna be a stable relationship, right? Because he might be aggressive with me one day, but really he's just having withdrawals or coming down. He might be depressed or feel like the relationship is making him sad, when in reality it's the drugs. Like, you cannot have a clear mind, a clear heart, a clear thought process. Well, that's mine. A clear anything when you are high or coming down. Like, it's like making those decisions when you're drunk, right? Like, oh my God, I want to call him, and when you're sober, you're like, ah. It's far worse than that though, obviously, but that is just a smaller example. I don't believe that I could be with anybody that does drugs, and I wouldn't be with anybody that does drugs, because you're never gonna be in a good space, because you're either too high or you're either going through withdrawals, and at no point of that does it feel good. Your body feels terrible, so it makes your heart feel terrible, it makes you feel depressed. It is just, I don't think it's possible. So good luck to you on that front, because that is a very difficult subject. Like, he'll think he's fighting demons, and really it's just coming down. Like, no, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. What would Seven do if her man asks for a threesome? So here's the threesome thing. I have like different, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna put y'all in my business. You should only be having threesomes if you are into women. I tell every single friend this, anybody who asks about them. If you are not into girls and you are having threesomes just to make a man happy, don't do it. He is gonna want more. He's never just gonna be happy. You shouldn't be opening your bed to that if you don't actually like women and you don't actually enjoy doing that, okay? And don't let any man bully you into it, coerce you into it, whatever. I strongly believe that. Like, be into women and be doing it because you want to do it and it's actually fun for you too, not just because a man wants it, because he'll want something else. They always do. They're never happy. They're always like, not all of them, but some of them, they always want and want and want and want from us more than they're willing to give 90% of the time, right? And so that is my perspective on threesomes. If you're into girls, yeah, have threesomes if that is okay with you, and why not? I mean, but if you are not into women, do not let a man come into you to open your bed for that. It will go bad. It will not be good. It will make you overthink later. I have seen friends that have gone through it. Like, you're not gonna enjoy it. So yeah, that's all I'll say on that. What would Seven do if she constantly caught her man looking at other people while you're together? Seven, don't play that. One, because I feel like any man I've ever dated, and this is not to sound conceited, I am a catch. Like, you have a Barbie doll, whether we're in the club or a restaurant or wherever we are, you are walking around with something real serious on your arm. So you constantly being distracted by anything else makes no sense. Yeah, I wouldn't appreciate that. I don't know. I'm sure it's probably happened, but I don't think there's a moment where I've caught it, because obviously there's a respectful way to do it. I can't say that I haven't been out with a guy and looked across the club and text Brooke like, fine shit. But everybody's gonna look. There's a respectful way to look. Like, I don't like those guys that are always like, hey, you see her, she look good. Like, I had a friend that was dating a guy like that, and I'm like, shut up. Like, why do you keep saying that in front of her? Like, she's fine. Keep your eyes where they need to be, because you don't even look like you should be here with her. So yeah, I mean, what else? There is a respectful way to do it. Not saying that it's right, but we do it right. Like, I'd be a liar to say I've never been out with my man and somebody's walked in and I'm like, but I wouldn't. I would just be like, you know, it's just noted in my mind, and I wouldn't out loud and be like, oh, he looks good. And so I wouldn't want anybody to do it to me. So if you feel like your man is always staring at other people, girl, leave him. If he gets so distracted, go let him put his time somewhere else and not with you. What would Seven do if she got pregnant by a guy and he did not want it? I mean, if I got pregnant by a guy and he didn't want it, but I did, I would just tell him to sign his rights over. Like, nobody's forcing you to be around. Go and sign the rights over. I don't need to see you. I don't need to talk to you. Baby doesn't need you, and I know that's easier said than done, but being in my situation now, and when everything first hit the fan, I was so scared to like transition to doing it alone. But then I thought, like, did you have as much help as you think you did when he was around? And I'm like, well, no, you didn't. So yeah, you never be scared to do things alone. And like, every aspect of life. You are probably stronger than you think, and you can probably handle more than you think. So if you want to have a baby and the man that lied down and had unprotected sex with you does not, I'd personally just be like, go ahead, you can sign your, I'll give me full rights to my baby, and we never have to speak again. But you know, you have to do what works for you. He's not innocent here, you're not innocent here. You guys decided to lay down and not take the necessary precautions to avoid it, and so you're not obligated to accept his decision, just like he's not technically obligated to accept yours. I'm not really sure what kind of person wouldn't want to be in a baby's life, but stranger things have happened. So okay guys, I'm gonna get to the last few questions and then I'm gonna wrap it up, because Miss Girl here, I didn't take down your name, but your Instagram name, but you have asked a few questions on this subject, so I feel like you're going through it. So we're gonna end it up with yours because it sounds like you need it. What would you do if you found out your friend had a crush on your man? You know, I don't think it's that serious I mean, like, I wouldn't be so offended if my friend thought my man was attractive. I mean, I typically like to date fine men, so I mean, of course, somebody could probably be like, he looks good. Now, if she was acting upon it or being disrespectful about it, then yes, it would be a problem and I would check it so fast, or probably remove her from my group, because if you're acting upon any of your feelings or being disrespectful, you're probably not my friend anyway, because I personally would not do that to a friend. So yeah, I mean, but like, my friend was like, girl, your man's fine. I'll be like, I don't know. And I've accidentally done that to somebody. And so, like, I've seen a girl's man while we were all together. And I'm like, oh, girl, your man look good. And then another girl kind of corrected me. She's like, girl, you can't say stuff like that. I'm like, I can't. So, like, I mean, I was just saying he looked good. I'm not doing anything about it. But, yeah, I feel like it's not that deep, as long as, you know, I mean, I hang out with really beautiful women. I typically like to date attractive men. And if your friend's not acting upon it, and maybe she just said it in conversation. Now, if it's constantly coming up in conversation, you just need to probably check her. But like, one time, like, oh, he's cute, he looks good, like, oh, okay. I mean, I guess a crush is a little deeper than saying something, complimenting somebody's looks. Yeah, I wouldn't want my friend to have a crush on my man, and that would be a problem. Yeah, I don't know how to help you out that one. Okay, but you've asked a few questions about this friend, so it sounds like this friend just might not be a good friend. What would you do if your friend constantly was bullying you, talking to you aggressively, calling you out your name? One thing I don't play with is friends like this. Like, I don't like friends who yell, I had a friend, like, every argument was bitch, 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 like, or I don't like friends who are overly aggressive and just rude. I don't play, because I'm not like overly aggressive with my friends. I don't play that. I don't call them out their names. I feel like if we're friends, it should never get there. And I don't really like being friends with people like that, because I know my anger, I'm kind of a ticking time bomb sometimes. So you be all in my face like bitch, 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 and like one wrong move and I'm just gone up. Like, I don't like any friends that make me want to hit them. Like, that they're so aggressive all the time, or like I'm constantly just like on edge because of them. Like, I can't say the wrong thing. Do not hang with females like this who are overly aggressive and nasty. If any conversation or any disagreement makes you feel like your friend does not like you, she probably does not. Because with my friends, I always, and they will back me up when I say this, try to come from a place of love. I've never just been on the phone with a friend, like, unless there's just like bad and then the friendship's probably over and like, bitch, fuck you. No, I don't talk to my friends like that. And you don't want any friends in your life. And if this is the same friend that got a crush on your man, it's probably all, girl, you gotta watch her if it's the same friend. Back to this friend. What would you do if you had a best friend and you seem to be the only who seems to care about the relationship? I would leave her. If all three of these person is the same person, just leave her alone, because there's probably some jealousy in there. There's probably some envy and jealousy in there. This doesn't sound like a friend. These are not qualities in a friend that you want. These are not questions that I worry about with my friends personally. And so yeah, girl, just get you a new friend. It's okay to start over, whether it's relationships, friendships. I am so lucky to have the same friends for years, but everybody doesn't get so lucky, and I have lost some along the way. I have gained some new ones along the way. It is okay to start over in every aspect of life, love, friendships, like whatever it is. Feel free to start over. You are not stuck anywhere. That's it for a What Would 7 Do? If you guys want to have more of these, ask away in the comments. If you guys just want to have girl talk, ask away in the comments. This is kind of going to be an introduction to something really exciting that I'm excited to do. And I think would just like make my life easier and make our time together more intimate and passionate, and just like get us more into conversations, because I noticed you guys like having, like I said at the beginning, you love having conversations and talking to me and hearing perspective. And I love hearing what you guys are going through in life, because sometimes it makes my life not feel so crazy, and sometimes it's just a good laugh. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time.